pretty ready out.
We're running out of fertilizer.
Those are hard to do.
Yeah, we are.
Ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right.
We're ready.
Welcome everyone, and welcome one and welcome all to seminary today. It is Thursday, so we have Taylor doing our music and personal shares, and Brittany has done what must be done. Amina is going to be crying out to God for us in the beginning, and after our hopefully what will be an amazing lesson, Spencer will give thanks. Are there any new announcements?
Oh, Friday. On Friday.
Do it.
Friday tomorrow.
Tennis away today, girls lacrosse tonight, 7 o'clock.
Our
Lacrosse
tennis
tomorrow.
match got canceled.
No tennis today?
We got canceled.
X that.
We have a tournament tomorrow though, and Saturday.
Oh, okay, tennis tomorrow. And tennis. You guys are busy. Stake activity Saturday?
Temple tomorrow on Saturday.
I think I saw that you had something, Amina.
There's a softball game at 1:30, and it's on my block.
You
Nice.
guys upgraded to the varsity field?
Yes, because they have a tournament, so they're doing so.
Wow.
Where?
It's at Stone Park.
At Stewart Park. At what time? Great.
All right. Yes, Taylor.
Mr. RHS is canceled, so take it off your calendars.
Mr.
What's
R.
canceled?
Mr. RHS.
Dumb. I was
It's like
Is it
a,
political? Oh.
no, it's like a men's pageant thing.
Yeah, I know what it is. How was Mr. JHS?
Oh, yeah, really?
Yeah.
I was excited for it. So, because it got canceled, we might be doing something for the homecoming assembly, but nothing's for sure yet, so we'll see.
Bummer. Petition.
Yeah. We tried.
You tried?
Yeah.
I want to hear more about it later. Sounds interesting. Okay, anything else?
All right. Only thing left before I pass things off to Brother Jones is Bailey's Corner. Do you want to read that, or do you want me to? All right.
Best comedic timing.
I'm gonna say the joke to you. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Cow.
Cow who?
How much longer are you going to put up with this knocking?
And there's a picture of a cow.
There's also another picture of it. That'd be an ox, but
It's a cow joke, so it's awesome. It's cow jokes are
So you guys are seeing this picture of a cow over there.
yeah.
I have a cow box.
Well, that one's a false idol.
Yeah, that's a false. Don't worry.
Okay, well,
All right, cool. Thank you.
All right. Since that was all, I'll be passing time to Brother Jones.
Okay, tomorrow we've got a sub. I'm going to be out of town, so Sister Cooley is not going to talk about the 10 Commandments. She's going to do y'all a big favor and do an assessment prep and preview. So you know that I'm sort of off the curriculum a little bit. I've been open about that. But you still have to take the assessment and you still have to pass it with 75%. So she is going to help you out by passing out questions that are on the assessment and getting a chance to talk about those. You're going to learn a lot and it's going to be great. Smile. She's awesome. Nourish your spirit with the word. Don't forget. Daily, 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 every day, and then record it so you get credit for it. Okay. It's better to just do it every day than try to make up a bunch, you know. It's like starving yourself for 4 days and then like going to an all-you-can-eat buffet. It's like it doesn't really help you that much. It makes you sick.
If I'm doing my reading, but I'm putting it on the paper, am I still going to get credit for my reading?
Yes, because eventually you or I will have to put that in the computer. And if you're unable to do that for some reason, then you take a picture of that and send it to me and I will do it for you. Okay. Some of you are pretty good at taking a picture of your card and just sending it to me and I just update it for that. And then be gathered and assembled to Zion on Saturday night. It's a stake activity. It's an invitation to you. And remember that for whatever reason you may have for going or not going, there's an opportunity there to connect with God because this is his church. And so activities that are planned and prepared with the Spirit typically will give an invitation and an opportunity to connect with the Spirit there. To be honest, when I was a teenager, I wasn't that interested in going to those kind of things. I was super busy. And most of my thing was like I was busy and also the social piece. And I should have and could have gotten over myself in a way and gotten myself there. It would have been helpful and beneficial for me because I was thinking about it through the wrong set of lenses. Okay, question. What's the first thing that comes to mind that I can and must do to make things better? You ask yourself that question. What comes to mind? Jot it down. Send yourself a text. Make a note of it. Because that's going to be amazing if you do that thing. Okay. Taylor, music.
So I'm gonna put a song up on the TV. I thought this song when I went with her, with what we've been talking about, and I heard it, or I listened to it on Sunday, and I thought, man, this would be great. I'll have to save it for my music share. So I did.
When you look at yourself, tell me what do you see? The many small imperfections, or what's underneath? Do you know who you are? I hope you understand. You are a child of a God who made you, and He made you divine. Like a star that's shining in the sky, you're an angel learning how to fly. It's a blessing to everyone alive. It's not a lie, divine. You were sent from heaven up above, and your worth is more than you can know. It's a truth that no one can deny. We can't deny, divine. He just wants you to see what He sees in you. There is a power in your heart that you always knew, so don't keep it inside. You can shine so bright. You are a child of a God who made you, and He made you divine. Like a star that's shining in the sky, you're an angel learning how to fly. It's a blessing to everyone alive. It's not a lie, divine. You were sent from heaven up above, and your worth is more than you can know. It's a truth that no one can deny. We can't deny, divine. Like a star that's shining in the sky, you're an angel learning how to fly. It's a blessing to everyone alive. It's not a lie, divine. You were sent from heaven up above, and your worth is more than you can know. It's a truth that no one can deny. We can't deny, divine.
Our dear Heavenly Father, we're thankful for this day, and we're thankful for all of our many blessings, and we're thankful for being able to be here together at seminary, and we're thankful for BroJones and what he does for this class. And please help us to feel the Spirit today, and please help us to be safe and leads us that we can remember to be kind to the people around us, and we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ.
So for doctrinal mastery, I chose Abraham 3:22 through 23. I don't think this has been one that has been shared. I may be wrong though.
Go for it anyway.
Anyways,
It's a good one.
it says, "Now the Lord has shown unto me, Abraham, the intelligence that were organized before the world was, and among all these were many of the noble and great ones. And God saw these souls, that they were good. And he stood in the midst of them, and he said, These I will make my rulers. For he stood among those that were spirits, and he saw that they were good. And he said unto me, Abraham, thou art one of them. Thou wast chosen before thou wast born." So we all had a plan before we came to Earth, and we had that plan not necessarily chosen for us, but we probably worked it out with our Heavenly Father and was like, oh yeah, this would be a good plan. And it's just kind of unique that our plans, they're just chosen and we work with them. We can't really change our plans because Heavenly Father sees everything, but it's just really insightful to me, at least.
Thank you, Brittany. So did we opt into the plan? Was it chosen? So let's say the plan was presented, okay? It's the plan of salvation, the eternal plan. Did we opt in? Did we make a choice to participate? The answer is yes. Okay. So while we may not have invented the plan, we opted into the plan, right? Scripture tells us that. That's the doctrine that we believe, is that we chose into it. And that's why we're here. Had we not chosen it, we wouldn't have been born. We wouldn't be getting a body. So we all believed at one point that this is like, yes, I totally want to do that. I definitely want to do that. So that's cool. Thanks for reminding us. I like the word, and I haven't really paid attention to that before. The intelligences that were what before the world was? What's the word? The magic word?
Organized.
The intelligences that were organized before the world was. That's helpful. That's kind of what we've been getting at a lot. I love Taylor's introduction to today with that song. It's very appropriate for where we're going, and so is that. I love how that works out. Enlighten us.
So, my musical share and personal share kind of link in one major way. So, the song talks about like us being divine, and we were divinely created and created to be divine. And it mentions like learning how to fly, and we kind of mentioned that yesterday. We were talking about like you have to learn to crawl and walk and run before you fly. And this weekend I had an experience where I was walking and crawling, not necessarily flying. I have a really, like, for some reason I have a hard time remembering stuff, like to find like where I put stuff or like just to bring things. It's a constant problem for me. But our last game on Friday, I woke up and I looked around for my game jersey to wear to school, and I was like, oh crap, where'd it go? And I couldn't find it. And so I went like running around through the house in the morning, like could not find it. Had my mom helping me, had my brother helping me, nobody could find it. We checked the car, we checked the house, it was nowhere. So I went to school and asked my mom to check a couple more places, and she couldn't find it. So I drove home during lunch and looked all over, and I said a prayer and was like, please, like, I need this. And I couldn't find it. It was gone. And that morning my coach had made a comment about something about like, me wearing my jersey so I don't forget it. I did not mention that I could not find it at that point because I was like, I gotta find it during lunch. This is bad. This is not the first time I've forgotten my jersey. And as a team captain, you're supposed to set an example.
Not a bad example.
Yeah, not a bad example. So we drove all the way to the game, and I was waiting for, I had a backup jersey from the last time I forgot mine at a game, and I'd kind of given up. And during the JV game, like during halftime, I went over to coaches and explained what happened, and they were like, Lander, like, brought out their coach voices, got after me a little bit, not a whole lot, but I knew that they weren't very happy with me. And then I turned around, went over to my bag to get my clothes on, and there it was.
In your bag?
It was in my bag. I looked in my bag. I pulled everything out of my bag, but apparently it was in some part of my bag that I missed. So it showed up within a minute of me telling coaches, and I had the feeling the entire day, like I'm gonna tell my coaches I don't have it, and then I'm gonna find it, and it's gonna be just my luck. And then it actually happened. And so I turned around to my coaches was like, just kidding, and like held it up, and they were like, Lander, you made me pull out my coaching voice. And like all in all, it got found. I prayed about it, and it showed up.
At the end of the day, like while you're searching and praying, I'm sure your mom
Yeah.
was also on board with that, sort of praying, and
Yeah.
you ended up with the jersey.
So I put in the effort to find it, and sometimes all that we can do is not everything that's needed, and there's just a little bit of God's help in there that we need to make it. And I ended up all good with my coaches. Like they were like, you got to score 10 goals to make up for it, and I scored 6 and got an assist,
Hey,
which is like double from what I usually do.
maybe you should lose things and pray more often on game days. That prayer is just good for the team.
Yeah. So I would rather keep my jersey and not have it lost and just pray about winning instead. But it was just another experience that I had where I like couldn't find something and Lord help me out.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, when I lose stuff and I need help finding them, my prayer usually is like, well, you know where it is. It's someplace. It didn't disappear. It's like sitting somewhere. It exists, and it's someplace. I just haven't looked in the place where it is yet. Help me to look in the place where I haven't looked. And almost usually shortly after that, I'll find it, because it's a matter of, it's someplace, right? So I love, though, that Taylor, it might be really easy to dismiss faith in that. It's like, well, it's in my bag the whole time. I just didn't see it, whatever. It's like, okay, so all the prayer and all the effort and all the whatever just goes to the side because it was just all in there the whole time anyway. It's silly me. But you don't know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
You looked. And that's the most obvious place to look, you know? So I love that you're just saying, well, whatever happened, I prayed and I found it. Just like the guy in the New Testament who was blind, who Jesus made see, and all these people are questioning him like, well, what about this and what about this and like this, and he's like, I don't know about all that. All I know is that I was blind and now I see, and he did it. End of it. Like, that's all I have to say. Mic drop. I'm out. Like, so if you have a problem with him, anything like that, I don't care. All I know is I was blind and now I see. Your jersey was gone and then it was there and you prayed about it. So I love that simple acceptance of faith. That's really cool. All right. I think I need to try to wrap up this whole section today. So it's going to be a little bit intense. I want to invite you to be with me and to engage in the questions that are being asked and engage in answering the questions for yourself and possibly in this community here. And I do believe it will be helpful to you. I do know that the Spirit can teach you here now. So put forth the spiritual energy
to invest in it. If we find Christ-like attributes today, or so you think of something, write it in your list at the end of your journal if you're doing that. Okay, so we are here. Okay, we've come to the end of understanding this stuff, and now it's time to talk about application. So what does this whole amazing creation story, all the depth we've gone into in pulling out meaning from this story, now the real question is, what does that have to do with me? What do I learn about God and myself in this story here, in this doctrine? So we have gone through the milk, the who's, what's, where's, when's. We've got the bread, the hows, the meat, the why, and all that milk and bread and meat help us be alive, right? It sustains life, but it also gives us life, spiritual life. So the meaning and the application is really what we want at the end of the day. So the questions I have for you: what does it mean that I am in the image of God? What does that mean to you? We've heard it 3 times this morning already, that we are divinely created, that we were known before we were born, that there's a plan for our lives and our existence, where there's a meaning. What does it mean that we are in the image of God? What does that mean to you? Let me take a couple of answers to that. Are there evidences that you are in the image of God? That you are like your creators? That there are pieces of what we know about them in you? How am I to create as the gods create? If this is how they do it, what does that mean for me? From what do I create? What are the resulting creations of my creating? So let's go here. What does it mean that I'm in the image of God? What does it mean to you that you are in the image of God? If you can answer these questions in general, great too. Amina.
Well, whenever somebody says that we're in the image of God, obviously my first thought goes to
The way we look?
yeah,
Okay.
but it's also a little bit more than that.
So what do you mean by the way we look? The fact that we have a head on top of our shoulders and my eyes and
Like
okay.
just like our bodies.
Okay.
I think it goes a little bit more than that. Like, if we're in the image of God, I think just that we can have the same kind of I don't know how to explain it, like actions, I guess. Like we can do like relatively the same things. Like we can communicate, we can express things, like just things like that.
Okay. So
The
basic abilities that our body gives us and our mind, your consciousness, your intellect gives you, are the same kinds of things that our heavenly parents also do. Love it. Okay, take a shot.
We were also all started kind of in the same place too. And so as we grew, he kind of shaped us into who we are and who he is. So like we're all this kind of the same in a certain sense.
Okay, good. I like the analogy there that we were raised up from little infant spirit children to some level in our parents' home. But then at some point in our growing up there, we had to move out of the house in order to keep progressing, just like we do here, right? You reach a point, we are dependent. No, who can argue that as a baby? You're useless. But you grow. And eventually you have to go out and do it on your own and not have people do for you. I like that. That's what happened there too. They shaped us. They taught us. We grew. We developed into something. But we couldn't keep growing and developing unless we moved out and had to choose for ourselves in a different environment, which is on the horizon for all y'all in like a few months to a few years. Other thoughts? Okay, I think we're good on that. I think in the image also is like we have power to choose, we have power to act, and our choosing and acting influences, it has results. What we do, what we choose, what we think, what we say, everything matters. Everything matters. Every thought matters. Every word matters. Every action matters because it does something in the physical world. And that's how God is too. He intends things, he speaks things, he does things, and it changes stuff. We do that too. I mean, it might seem obvious, but that is godly about us. We have power to act and influence. Okay, there, evidence says, how am I to create as the gods create? Maybe let's go from what do I create? And we can talk about how am I to create as the gods create. Let's go here. And I think we have to, so starting here with the why. Why am I to create in the way that the gods create? What is supposed to be, or what is the divine impetus or motivation for doing? For us. Just got a shot at that. Is that a hand? No.
Like, why am I to create?
Yeah, why? What motivates me to act, to move in the world and to do things? What is the godly motivation? Because if I'm in the image of God, what is the reason they do things is also the higher divine reason why I can do things. Okay, so what motivates you to create? Because you all create every day. Every single day, you are creators. And so what motivates them, right? Love. And that love is a desire for the betterment of all things, to make things better. So when we are acting, intending, speaking, thinking, choosing, working to make things better, that is godly. That is divine. It might seem simple, but that's so profound. And then when we're acting in a way that makes things worse, that is the opposite of the divine that's in us. When we are thinking negative thoughts, things that make things worse, speaking words that have a negative impact, that make things worse, wanting something, desiring something that is not for the betterment of all things, that is the opposite of the divine that's in us. We've got to really watch out for that because we're tempted with that a lot, right? Okay. So that's the why. We need to try to reach up and within us for the divine why that is part of who we are, and to always try to tap into that. I want things to be better for me, for everybody, all the time, and I can make that happen. Okay. Over here, I kind of have this to think about. Okay, this is you. This is me. And what is it? So the question is, from what do I create? What is the tohu bohu? What is the unorganized matter? What is the chaos that I confront every single day in the same way that the creators said there is unorganized matter there, and there is space, and we have time. Let's go do something to make that better and give it a purpose. So within us, what is the chaos that we confront every day? Within you, let's say. And then there are also external things that act on me, unorganized matter. Okay, what is it that is influence to create chaos, chaotic influences? Yes. This might be too much. I don't know.
We have like all sorts of different thoughts.
Okay, our thoughts can be total chaos,
our thoughts
right?
really can.
Okay, good. Because do you control all your thoughts? No, they just show up out of nowhere sometimes. It's like you're not responsible for that, or maybe some part of you is that you are not even understanding, right? And sometimes we know we get whispered at by angels and by spirit and by little demons and devils, who are around us that we don't see, but we feel and we hear. Okay, love it. Our thoughts can be chaos. Good. What else? What else seems chaotic? Okay, love it. Our emotions can be total chaos. Our feelings. Do you always have control of how you feel? I'm angry. Stop being angry. I can't just like not, right? So our feelings can be totally chaotic. Yes. Our actions? Okay, good. Expound a bit. How can our actions be chaotic? Because actions are driven by some kind of motivation. Human beings never do something ever that isn't motivated towards some target. The problem is, sometimes we don't even know why we're doing what we're doing. So there is an action that we don't even understand in our own selves that we're doing. And then we say, why did I do that? Why did I say that? I can't believe I did that, right? But you did it. So good. Is that kind of what you're saying? Help me out. Actions? Yeah, our actions can be like, what in the world? Why? Don't understand it. Okay, anything else? I'd say our desires too, right? Human sexuality, complete chaos. Just desires of all kinds can be totally chaotic. What you want might be nothing that's good, right? But you want it anyway. Okay, Trevor.
I was gonna say motivations, but that's our desires.
Yeah, okay, good. Motives, which come from thoughts, which come from feelings, which inspire actions, desires. You're right. Good. Anything else to add to this? I think we covered it pretty well. Also, we're faced with the future, right? Every single day, every day you wake up, there's nothing in front of you but chaos unless you put it in order. You don't know what's going to happen, right? And it could turn out really badly unless you act on it in a godly way to turn it into something that is good. Because every day could be terrible, right? Every single day you wake up and you have to create your day. Yes, school's already a given, right? Yes, work is a given. Yes, these chores are a given or whatever. But you could do them in a way that is completely not godly, right? That is really awful. You could definitely go about that day in a terrible way. Or you could go about that day in a godly way. It's up to you. So just the future of what we have in front of us is chaos. Okay. Anything else? What else is the potential that is in front of us? I guess that would be over here. Our future. Our every single day. Things that act on me. What's trying to kill you all the time? What's got it in for you?
Doubts and fears.
Okay, good. Is doubt and fear godly? Is it divine? How many times does Christ have to say, doubt not, fear not? Right? Okay, good. Yes.
Nature.
Okay, nature is trying to kill you all the time. But we fortunately live in a society where human beings have done enough godly work to put nature at bay for the most part, right? We don't have like wild animals trying to kill us. We don't have like awful diseases typically coming at us and trying to kill us. But I mean, there is some of that. You could get cancer at any time. You don't know. But nature, yes, is always against you. You're aging. You're getting closer to death all the time, right? Okay, what about society? What about the worst in human beings, right? That's also got it in for you. You don't watch out, you don't be careful, then you make a few missteps and you're a goner. You put yourself in the wrong place a few times, and that's it for you. Like society is going to take you out also. So nature, and we'll say people. And people's part of nature too. Okay, so this is just kind of what we're dealing with. These are of what we have to create from. This is the same kind of thing that the gods faced, is that potential that is unorganized, it's untapped, it's unmet potential, and that's exactly what we're facing too. So then how do I deal with this? What is the message we get from the creation stories about how to deal with this tohu bohu, this void and purposeless thing that we confront every day, and we have to make meaning out of it? How do we do that? In the same way the gods did, right? And I'm giving you the answers because we're pretty much out of time. But we have to start with spiritually creating stuff. We have to imagine things better. It starts with that. It starts with seeing how things could be better. Imagining it and hoping it. Having a vision for what can change and how things can be better on every level of our lives, from within us to without us, outside of us. Okay, it starts with that. So your thoughts matter. What are you dwelling on? Where are your thoughts devolving to? Negativity, bad stuff, like make things worseness? Like, where do your thoughts live? And if they're down in the dumps, if they're in the clouds of darkness, then you're going to have a hard time creating good out of that place. Okay, God said, let there be light. Truth. It started there. The truth showed up. And God spoke according to what was true. And then things started happening. So the same thing is true for us, guys. It starts with our thoughts, the spiritual creation of something good. All the time, every day, in every moment, we're creating that. And then what? We're speaking it. We're speaking truth. We're speaking what is good. And out of those thoughts, that spiritual creation, out of that speech, which is uniquely human, that intellect, then we can start to act and form things. And it makes things better. Our life becomes habitable. It becomes meaningful, purposeful. Our time becomes meaningful and purposeful. Our existence does, because we make that happen the same way that God's made it happen. I'll end with this. I sent myself a message the other day when I was thinking about you and this. I said, there's no worse tragedy than a human soul that has settled for less than it is capable of. And nothing more malevolent than to teach another human being that they have no potential, nothing to reach for. There's no greater disappointment or shame than to realize that you're not all you could be. There's no harder truth to face, no darker space to explore, no greater challenge to confront, no greater dragon to defeat than the fact of our own potential and what we can become. God saw potential. He didn't leave it there. He turned it into something good. And we do the same thing with ourselves and with everything that we touch, with our thoughts, our words, and our actions. That's the story of the creation. That's the meaning of the creation for me. That's where it comes down to me and the godliness that is in me, the divine that is in me and you, and how we are to act in the world to make it something good. I'm going to leave that with you in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Who was closing prayer? Okay.
Heavenly Father, please us that we can all have a nice day today, that we can make it safely back to school, and that we can learn lots and be thankful for the gospel, that we can come to seminary and learn more, and we say these things in Jesus Christ.
Amen. Thank you. Let me out, well, like 3 minutes later than I should. You're still out early, but hurry up and get to class so you don't get a tardy. See you, Michael.
Bye.